Mathieu is the moderator, is a publisher, and he will ask things to the devs, okay? And they will answer. And in some moment, if you want to ask anything to the devs, you are free. So you can raise your hand and you can make questions. So you have 1 hour. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. I've already met some of you. So as Ramon said, I'm working for Plugin Digital. I also work for a publisher called Dear Villagers. And I'm happy to moderate this panel, which has no specific theme. So maybe we'll start talking about why are you making games? You have water here. Okay. I have water here too. You have beer if you want. Beer after. So yeah, I'll ask the most simple and difficult question to answer usually for people, which is what is your reason for making video games in the first place? So if there's one of you who wants to start, it's open.
Hi everyone, hola a todos. So, why I make video games? Okay. Rich is one thing. Now I live making video games, and every morning I wake up and I think about what. But I start writing about video games. Maybe a lot of people start that way, maybe not. But I started writing about video games, and I really love to talk with people who write about who make video games. It was like, I don't know, I like to write, and I think that I can write video games. So I'm not actually programming anything or doing art or anything like that. I do Twine a lot, I do Bitsy a lot because they are simpler, and I'm very dumb. And I actually just like to write. And video games is like, you can write and people can play it and read it however they want. And that's amazing because when I wrote a movie, I wrote novels, I wrote a lot of things. But when you write video games, you really don't know what will happen when people play it, because maybe it was this example about, I think, Max Payne, that every time you die, you start over, and you can die when you enter in the house where your family was killed, and you can do that like 10 times. So the 10 times that your family is killed, and you die again is like, whatever, I don't care that much about my family. So that's amazing because it's a danger, but it's worth the risk. So I really write and talk about video games, and that's really what I love to do, because video games are amazing in itself. So I think that, I don't know. I'm just a little guy here.
Okay. I think what you want to tell, because video games are amazing, and that's why we are here, and that's one of the key points of why we keep us playing and keeps creating video games. And I think it's all about the experience. And when you create a video games, and when you create especially kind of a small indie games, have to be because you have an experience that you want to share. And if you have this experience, because when I created Flat Heroes and all the projects that are coming, is because I really want, I really enjoy playing it. So it's very adrenaline buster, whatever, and that's the kind of experience that I really enjoy. So I want to create something that transmit me this experience in one side, and in another side, I want other people to have this experience as well. For me, I'm like a pure mechanics-based designer based on super fast-paced games. That's the main thing. It's something that I love, and I am really happy when other people enjoy that as much as I do. So, yeah.
Does this work? Yeah.
Yeah. In my case, I was my aspiration always was to become a professional comic artist. But at the point when I got to that point, I realized I didn't like that. I wasn't enjoying my time working as a professional comic artist because it was long hours or every day sitting down in a chair, just wiping out just page after page, and I wasn't enjoying that. Was when I've been a gamer all my life, so I always enjoyed playing games, and that's when I realized, well, maybe I could work making games, and that sounds more fun than just, I mean, sounds funny to say just drawing because that's what I enjoy really. But video games, as you probably know already, involves lots of different arts, like writing, like music, drawing, animation, game design, which is art by itself. So doing this, I never get bored, really. Every day is a different thing I have to do. I have to learn a new skill pretty much every week. And I enjoy that. Also, being a bit more pragmatic, my girlfriend and me are nomads, what is called today digital nomads. So we travel around the world while we work on our things. So making games is one of the few jobs we can do with our laptops and a bag with some clothes, and that's it, you know. So that's my case.
Well, in my case, I cannot lie. I started making games, I think maybe the same reason as some of you, because I loved video games. So I was dumb enough to think if playing games is fun, making games must be fun. Making games is not always fun. So I was also pretty lazy when I was younger because I got bored really fast with repetitive tasks. So I realized when I was in university that almost every job that I could get would become really boring for me really fast. So I thought about, well, I ended up making video games, and at the beginning I made it because they were not repetitive, because I could do different things every day, especially if you are an indie game developer, because as an indie you have to learn new things every day, and that's great. But what really got me into it in the end was when I finished my first small games for mobile at the beginning, and when I joined my first game jams, I experienced the feeling of finishing a game and watching people play this game and watch the reactions you can ignite in them. So it's like you feel like I can create this thing that people are gonna play, and I can make them happy, but also I can make them sad, and I can make them angry. And this is a great power, I think, that comes with every creative job. I mean, if you're a writer, you have the same power. But, well, I find video games are funnier than books or music, because it's like the mixture of everything, so that's my case.
I have a question related to what you're talking about in terms of making people happy, but also sad or angry, because a lot of games have been focusing on fun and making things happy as possible, or a positive loop in some sense, or sometimes it's not positive because you're shooting people. But I want to know what's your... do you have a specific technique when you write a game or when you build a game to raise that kind of emotion into players? And if you're looking specifically for other things than fun in your games?
I think in our case, in Mango Protocol, I don't think we so much focus on something like I wanna make the people feel sad, for example, in this situation. Mm-hmm. Instead, I think we kind of write stories, fun stories mainly, mm-hmm. or at least fun to us. And what I try to do when I design the mechanics that mix with the story we are telling, yeah, I try to design these mechanics maybe to exploit the fun situation that the story has created there. But I think I cannot answer right now because I don't think we have a special technique. At least for me as a game designer, I cannot say, well, the formula to create a gameplay mechanic that makes you sad is this one.
Yeah, no, I was, sorry.
I don't think it exists. Or, well, at least if it does, maybe they can tell me.
You can always tell about your experience. I don't believe in the formula too, because a lot of people do the way they do because they didn't follow a formula or they wanted to improve a formula sometimes. So it's.
Well, to summarize, I think for me would be, for example, if the story has a character and you know this character has to die, and maybe I think, oh, I'm attached to this character some way, and I want people to feel sad when they die. I don't know. For example, if you are gonna be the one responsible for the death, just design a mechanic that makes this death personal and intimate. So maybe if you have to kill someone, do it as crudely and rudely as you can, just to involve the player with this action. I don't know, something like that maybe.
Yes, about emotions, I started making games. The first big game that I made with another team was a very little game for mobile that we made like in a week or 2 weeks, and now it has like 2 million downloads in Android only, and it was a tiny arrow, and when you press down, the arrow goes up, and when you release, it goes down. What we find out is that frustration in video games are the most easy emotion to feel. You can feel frustrated. I love Flat Heroes, you know, I love Flat Heroes. I love Super Hexagon also, because Super Hexagon is the best game ever made, but Flat Heroes is close. But our game is not Flat Heroes, it's not, I wish it was Flat Heroes, but it's not. And Gonzalo. Muchas gracias, encantado. But it was a very simple game, but the thing that we found out is that frustrated gamers are the worst kind of gamers because they are very competitive and they leave us comments in the store that was like, you should kill yourself, and I like, shit, I the one reading these things. So it was very easy because we have a lot. The loop was very simple and it was like 5 seconds loop, but people hate us a lot. But they play a lot of game and they give us a lot of money playing it, but hating us. So it was great for, I think, my bank account, but not for me, for myself, or for my ego. So it was a very strange situation for everyone. But now with Summer Mara, you can give us money. Well, not now. Yesterday, yes, but no.
You have enough.
Yes, but with Summer Mara, that is a very cheerful and happy and safe. It's like your safe place. It's our idea. The one experience that I have with the game, writing it for this demo, that is only loose sentences everywhere. The pig is called, one of the pigs is called Nicasio. Okay, that's a very Spanish ancient name. And I sit down with my boss, with Abraham. He's the creative director and everything. And I say, all the pigs should be named like this: Nicasio, Eustaquio, Eusebio, everything like that. Very old names. And he said, why? And I say, because it's fun. And people will love that. And he said, okay, I don't think so, but it's your job, so I believe in you. And people smile every time, or at least 80% of the people smile every time that they found out that the pig is called Nicasio. They did like, Nicasio. And even people that is not from Spain is like, what is that? Nicasio is a very strange name. I don't know what Nicasio means or everything, but it sounds like exotic, like from an alien world. And it's very funny that this pig is called Nicasio. And it's like, a simple idea that I have in my mind that this might work and actually work, and that, I don't know, I follow the Marie Kondo philosophy, so that bring joy, so we keep it, and if don't bring joy, we lose it out, and that's all.
About Marie Kondo, I am very interested in that topic. Anyone else thinks that is like TV shopping, that they first, no, you don't know what we're talking about? No, but, well, okay. Okay, we shall talk about that.
We can talk about Marie Kondo.
Yeah, have you seen that when they said it was like the previous one is like in black and white, and the new one is super colorful, and it's like the TV shopping all the time?
No.
So, no, if you change it, I think that the old one was better.
Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, focus on.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, yes, it was a thought that I have very inside of me. Yeah, coming back to the video games topic and about frustration, I think that we had, any of you was here yesterday? That's brilliant, because I told the same thing yesterday, so it doesn't sound that I repeat the stuff. Yeah, frustration is something that it takes a lot of time to move it in the right direction. And with Flag Heroes is 15 seconds at so much stages, and all the time you are dying and dying and dying until you get it. And even with that, we achieve that the players keep playing once and over. And yeah, it has to do something with the frustration. And a very good example that we have, and is related with game design, is when we were reading one of these reviews on Steam, was saying, I can't take my phone when I die on the game. It means that I have time enough to look at the phone, say the messages, come back to the game. And for us, that was a very, very hard review, because we want a super intense game all the time. But at the same time, we had the problem that when the people die and they were playing together, they really have a good time. Like, you explode, and it was, you fail, and I fail, and we are the worst, and that's super fun. For whatever reason, that was incredibly fun in our game. So what we did, a very, very small single detail about game design, but it's something that you have to think about when you create games. It is like small details like this. And what we did is create this like a variable. We changed the animation so it can be variable. It has like a slow-mo and then a restart. And we speed it up depending on several factors. So when you play Flag Hero the first time and you die in a stage, it is very slow, 0.8 seconds. And the more you die in the same stage, it's becoming faster and faster and faster. So we try to avoid the frustration as much as possible. But if you play with friends, it's a bit slower, so you can enjoy of that thing that apparently is super cool, to die together. So yeah, this example I think is quite interesting. Yeah. Hours and hours.
It's interesting to talk about frustration in video games, because there has been a game that came out last year or 2 years ago called Desert Golfing. I don't know if you've played it. It's on mobile phone. It's for free, and it's a golf game, pretty simple. You have the desert, and you have a hole on every screen, and you have just to get to the hole, and as many shots as you want. The game keeps track of the number of shots you made, but it doesn't give you any reward if you do it in 1 shot or 10. It just tells you how many shots you made. And a lot of people have been playing that for a long time because they want to reach the end of the desert, because you go forward every new hole. And there's an end to the game, but it takes like forever. And it turned into a lot of players talking about using it as a relaxation, meditation tool, instead of just aiming for a good score, doing everything in 1 shot, because you cannot rewind. You cannot go back and erase your mistakes, basically. And it's a game that I've been playing a lot also, and even if the physics is really well made for the ball, everything is, but all the rest is very simple. And I was wondering if inside some of your games you've integrated gameplay elements that were there freely, just for the gamer to enjoy doing it without any kind of reward, but it made them feel better, or it made them feel relaxed, or thing like that.
Well, in the case of last game, Rise and Shine, it was talking about raising some emotions from the players, getting some emotions. Sorry, we had something totally unexpected with the game because we were talking about before about the frustrating players, but at the same time, some frustration means some frustration for some people means also that other people enjoy a lot or enjoy your game even more. In our case, was the speedrunning community. That yeah, the game was kind of difficult for some normal players, but at the same time, the speedrunning community embraced our game and enjoyed it a lot, and they put out a lot of videos out there for the people to see, to watch, and took the game into championships globally, and it made a lot it made a lot for the game, it made a lot for us really, and that was fantastic. So yeah, but we didn't do it on purpose actually. We made the game that we wanted to play, and by accident, pretty much, the speedrunning community just embraced the game and enjoyed it, and it was, I think, part of the success that the game had was thanks to this community. Actually.
Well, in our case, I think there's one thing especially that that feels good about watching people play them is that we have this kind of obsession of filling our games with cultural references, random cultural references everywhere. Maybe it's because we are really selfish or something, but everything that we like, we try to put on the game somewhere. And I don't know if that helps people relaxing when they play our games, but we are sure that people do something more than just playing the games because they are constantly reaching us when they find these references that are there for no purpose at all. And we were laughing the other day because someone tweeted us about a guy found that somewhere in Agatha Knife inside a shop, there's the shopkeeper is wearing a T-shirt with the logo of a fantasy corporate from what was it? Perfect Dark. Because Javi and Mariona are fans of the game, so they decided to put the logo on the T-shirt of this woman who's selling comics in a comic shop, and someone tweeted, "Is that the digital domain logo?" And you're like, "What were you doing to find that out?" I mean, you were idling in the store just watching around everything we put down, and it's great for us to realize that people are enjoying everything we feel the environments with, and also at least it leads me to think that they do something more than play the game. They just walk around watching, because when you realize it's full of references, you kind of feel the urge to see how many you can identify, and you just walk around watching references. It's not the game main goal, but you like to do it. And
okay. And in Summoning Mara, we have Koa, our main protagonist, that is barefoot, and this is a concept idea from Fran, who is there. Fran, say hi. Hi, Fran. Fran hates these moments. He make her barefoot just because it was in an island. And we have a fan reaching us who is called Neloku and told us, "I'm from Hawaii, and this barefoot thing is really a thing in Hawaii. I mean, everyone is going, I don't think everyone, but he said to us, everyone is barefoot in Hawaii and in this island." So you capture this idea about the island. This is something that a person who lives in this kind of island will do. And it was amazing because he asked us, "Have you ever been in Hawaii?" And we are like, "What? We don't go to Portugal. What do we have in Hawaii?" And it was like a small detail that someone find relevant. And it's like our idea with Dayland and with Summoning Mara, that to make small details that people will find and will find relevant and meaningful to them. And it's like animation. Suddenly, orange fall in your head, and the quad does something like, and it's like, we doesn't need to do that, but we want to do this kind of things. And people that is like, and move on. But that moment is the essence for us in our video games.
In our case, I think that we are totally opposite of your perspective, just because we trade the game in a very, very minimalistic way. So we try to remove every single element that was not focusing on the direction we want. Maybe we went too far, but the game is super simple and super direct. And yeah, I don't think it's very difficult to find something that is not looking in the direction that we were aiming on our game. And obviously we are missing a lot of other feelings that could have, but I think that that's pretty much intent.
But there's like also a benefit in having abstraction in games, because it can be appreciated from even a person that doesn't know the references. Sometimes it can be not painful, but boring for people who don't have that kind of references. And when you have games that are filled with cultural references that are mostly inside the game world often, that's really weird, because you feel like you're excluded in some way.
Yeah.
You want to be in that club, but you don't understand the codes. And
yeah, we want to create a product that makes it different by itself. Well, actually, we have a bit of reference, but it's something that you have to actively look for. Not something like we have like a boss that looks like the Donkey Kong original and something like that, but it's something that is on the way. It's not something that we encourage. And yeah, but yeah, in our case, if the product is good enough, it could work in terms of marketing and sharing and these kind of things, these kind of details. It helps a lot. But for the vision of our product on the moment with Flag Heroes, it went very well. We are quite happy with what we did. But maybe it's not the best choice in terms of get viral, of these kind of things that they are important these days to sell your game.
And on a related topic, I wanted to ask you, how easy is it for you to disconnect from game making, like having a life outside of game, or not thinking about things that you can make in games or build in games or draw in games? Because as a game journalist before, it was very hard for me to do a clear cut between everything, and it ended up eating a lot of my time thinking about video games. And at some point you have like tunnel vision and everything is related to video games in some way. Do you actively search for free time outside of video games?
Yeah. What happens to me is that I need to do things all the time. I can't stop doing things. So my schedule looks like very hard workers' parents. The children are very hard workers' parents, so it has full of activities like music, whatever. Well, it's pretty much like my case. So what I do is I actively find and I have times to do sports and to do any kind of other stuff, because otherwise I will be programming at my home. That's not the most. I mean, you have to do this kind of things, or your life start to not collapse, but get a bit intense at some point. So yeah, I need to do a sport. I always like to do a sport. So right now I have certain hours on my week, and I forced to do sports and another kind of stuff, because otherwise I will be programming.
So in my case, in 2017, I have a full year of crunch, and that broke me, absolutely broke me. I used to watch one movie a day, or read like 100 pages every day. And after that year, I couldn't see a movie, because after 30 minutes I was like, what am I doing? I'm not doing things, I have to do things. There's a lot of things to do, or there's a lot of things that I don't know how to I know how to Real works and how to Twine works and everything. And now in this team that I work like strict 8 hours, I force myself to watch a movie and sitting down and watch it, or go to the movie and turn off my phone and read a lot of books, because I really like to read and really like to write. And if you don't read, you write, but you write poorly. So I force myself with the Goodreads thing of the challenge of the, I don't know, 100 books or something like that. I put that, and it reminds me every time that I'm behind schedule. And that works a lot for me, because I'm not a very sporty person. Like that you can see that. And it's like, yes, you have to force yourself, but it's like, in my case at least, it's like the first 10 minutes. I say like, I have to read. And for 10 minutes, I like looking at my phone or watching something, but meanwhile, I'm reading. And after 10 minutes, I disconnect, and that's when I start disconnect really from my game side or whatever. But I'm the one who also manage our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, everything. So that's a pain in the ass, because every time someone asking something somewhere, and that's really hurtful sometimes. But yeah, I keep the good. What's happening here? I see everyone.
Oh, it's just games.
Oh, sorry. I see everyone looking at. That's the idea. So.
Hey, that's Agatha, by the way. In my case, I think I'm a little bit like Lucas mentioned. My mind is always working on something. So the only times I get to disconnect is maybe like Diego when I am watching a movie, when I'm reading. But the moment I finish an activity, sometimes it keeps happening to me, and more often every time as the years pass, working on the industry. But the moment I'm not actively doing something, my mind just links it with video games somehow, and more often with game mechanics. Or I'm reading this book, and when I end the chapter, I close the book and I start to do some robot activity, like, I don't know, do the dishes. Mm-hmm. I start thinking, well, I think this book could work as a video game. The adaptation would revolve around this specific part of the story, or maybe, yeah. I think like not two weeks ago, I arrived at the studio in the morning, and we did the daily meeting with the planning and such. And before everyone could get to their chairs, I summoned everyone, and I said, come with me to the whiteboard, because when I was showering yesterday, I had this great idea for a game. So I doodled the game on the board, and once I had told them the story, they were like, okay, so you had this idea while you were showering. I was like, okay, I told you, now maybe I can forget about that, but maybe some of you will remember. And I erased the whole thing and started working. So yeah, I really cannot disconnect. I love traveling. When I travel abroad, it's almost the same thing. I'm out visiting some temples or something, but the moment we end dinner and go back to the hotel, I lay on the bed and I'm like, yeah, this mechanic, this temple is great.
This could be a good background for.
I could do a video game about Indonesian temples. They are so good. Don't know.
Yeah, I think the burnout is something that people, we developers don't talk about enough. And it happens a lot. And we thought it wouldn't happen to us, and it happened to us last year. After we finished with our game, after almost 3 years of work, we were basically dried. We dried out. I mean, we were creatively dead. We tried making lots of prototypes. We were working, I think, 3-4 prototypes, like 2 months each, more or less. And we had to throw them away because not a single one worked properly, or we ended up hating them after just a while. And it costed us a little bit of time to realize that we were just burned out, that we worked for so long, so hard, that we hated making games, which is something that it was unthinkable for us at the time. But it happened, and it happens around, because you probably, on social networks, you probably won't see about this, or you won't read about this a lot. Because usually, we people that we make games, we only put like nice stuff out on social networks. Yeah, look at this screenshot, or look at this video, but we don't put things out like, yeah, we are fuck games, yeah, we are burned out. See you in 2 years when we recover from this shit. And it doesn't happen and doesn't get talked enough, I think. And yeah, be careful with that, guys. I mean, when you start making your own games, it's fun, it's fantastic, it's great, and we still enjoy making them, but it could happen to you too, that you're not careful enough, if you don't do your own stuff, you don't go out, you don't do your sport thing, you don't, get to socialize with your friends, you don't travel around, whatever you like to do. You don't do that as often as you should. It will happen to you, and you can get a little bit of burnout, and that's bad. And it takes a while to actually recover from that. It took us like a year just to be able to make something that we were happy with again. And yeah, it means, of course, it's one entire year of money thrown away, and of your energy and frustration, and yeah, and you are not in a good mood, never, because that always affects your family, your friends, and so be careful with that, because it is more important than you think, and you need to be careful not to fall into that. Yeah. So yeah, please go out and look for a sport that you love to do. Travel, whatever you do, but stay away from games for every day for just a little bit. Yeah, it's good for your health.
It's always it's the case in all other industries where it is passion driven in some way, where you make your hobby or your passion into work, and you realize that you cannot escape your passion anymore because it has become your work, and it's very important to keep that in mind. I realized that we've been following the rules of the Indie Royale because I've been asking questions and you've been answering them, but this part of the people here were supposed to ask questions at some point and they didn't. So maybe I can take 1 or 2 questions if people are curious to know about a specific point, any point that you want to, any question you want to ask those kind developers.
Yeah, do your part.
Really, we can talk about anything. Yeah. Also, if you want to ask in Spanish, it's perfectly okay. And if you're afraid to, yeah, please. Thank you.
This is related to what he said about losing creativity or inspiration, I don't know. To writers and designers and all kinds of art, it happens sometimes that you lose in creativity, I don't know, you are like blocked, I don't know. How do you, I don't know,
Overcome?
how did you overcome that? That's it. Overcome that, and how, I don't know, how do you inspire yourself?
In my case, I have to go out and I have to do something else. And what I like to do is sports. And actually, I have tons of. I use Telegram. It's like WhatsApp, but there is a feature on Telegram that you can save the messages. So you can send a message and you save it to yourself, and nobody else watch it. And I have like a lot of game idea. And every time that I have one of these games idea, I was riding the bike. I was not even on playing a sport. I was going to play on a sport with my bike, and I was saying, oh, this is a brilliant idea. And I have to tell it to everyone, so I'm going to save it here. So for me, is just go out, change, because when you are very focused in something, you lose the creativity side. So you need to go out. I heard a talk from Jonathan Blow, the creator of Braid, and he went to dance. And Yeah, I can imagine that, but it's great. I mean, he go out and he dance for a few hours, and then he feels that it refills this creativity, this out-of-the-box point. And I think that's the most important thing. Do whatever you do usually to have fun and disconnect, and suddenly it usually comes back. And you start to do, when I am very immersive in a creative process of whatever, everything's related to the process that I am doing. Every movie, every advert, every whatever that I see is like, gives me an idea. And when you lose that point, you have to be careful because you are not focused on the project. And maybe it's time to come to step back and then come back in the future.
Yes, actually doing dance or sport or just simply walking helps you a lot because I don't know if this is pseudoscientific bullshit, but you oxygenate more and your blood circulation is better because you are moving. You are not sitting down and thinking. You are moving. And also like mechanic things like wash dishing or something like that helps you a lot. I love to wash my dishes, actually.
I do too.
Yes, if you have dishes now, I can come to your house.
This is the secret to creativity.
And
Do your dishes.
I wash it.
You have to come to my home, you are going to create like 5 different.
Yes, I actually love that. But I spend a lot of hot water because I wash dishes with the hot water. But my hands are warm, so I love that because they are also a lot of cold all the time. But that's the idea. The idea is just, or you have to just walk, just walking around your, I don't know, your neighborhood. That's great. And do mechanical things for me works a lot. And also like, you have to understand the idea of the burnout that maybe you reach your point, you limit that day and you have to stop and that's it. You don't have to, well, I'm gonna see a movie and maybe later, no. You wanna see a movie, maybe later you go out to a walk, a nice dinner, and you go to bed, and that's all for today. Maybe that's just the case. If this block continues in time, maybe you have to find some things, maybe meditation or anything else. But every one of us have, I think, for every aspect of life, you have to have like a mechanism to save you from certain situations. Mm-hmm. Not only creative block, but I don't know, social anxiety or something like that I also have. But it's like something is, you have to have something that works for you, and everyone is different.
Yeah, well, I think we all agree on the disconnect thing, and the sad thing is that this is something that we've been experiencing for our whole lives, not just when we get to a creative career, but I'm sure all of you have had this feeling when you just finished a discussion with someone, and you are walking home, and it comes to you this idea, oh, that comeback, he would be dead right now. Why didn't I say that when I had the chance? And it comes to me right now. I think there's an expression in French just for this feeling. Something about des escaliers or something like that.
About les escaliers?
Well, they have a phrase for that.
It will come back to me later.
Yeah,
just
later
right after that.
Of course. So we go along with our lives experiencing this, and we never think of the power of this feeling. If you are stuck with something, disconnect, do something else. And the great thing is that you can also integrate this on the workflow in your studio, at home, anywhere. For example, we try to avoid huge tasks, because if you get stuck in a huge task and you leave it, then it's this half-huge task that you still have to come back and finish later. So if you break it down, I mean, this is basic stupid advice that we all know, but it works. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that we tend to focus on each task as a personal responsibility. So sometimes you just get stuck on something, and you feel all the weight on your shoulders. So you keep telling yourself, I have to finish that, because you look around and everyone's doing their job, and you're the only one that is stuck, and you feel the worst. And what we try to encourage at our studio is if you get stuck, the first thing you should do is look at the person next to you. Maybe he's not an artist and you're drawing. Maybe he's not a game designer and you're designing a mechanic. Ask them what would they do. Maybe they have this idea that it's even better than what you were trying to do, and just do it. And it will still be your work. Not because you accept someone else's idea. You have to feel like you didn't do the job because he did it for me or she did it for me. Just ask the next person. And I don't know, our artist is the people in the studio that gets stuck more often because she's the one that works the most, that has to do this heavy lifting on the creativity part. And we try to give her ideas when she's stuck. Why don't you try something else? Erase that. Erase the obstacle on the way and try something else. Maybe it doesn't make sense. And maybe when you're executing the thing that I told you, maybe the solution to the other problem will come on itself. So.
Yeah, I think that the best recipe to avoid burnout is what we were talking about before. Just try to disconnect a little bit every day, find a sport you love, go for a walk, socialize, stuff like that. But in the case you get into that burnout as we did, which is awful, yeah, please don't get to that. Then when we realized actually that that's what we had, we tried to read about that in the internet to try to find something that cures us from this shit, you know, to be honest. And it wasn't easy, you know, there's lots of advice out there. And pretty much what they say to you is that you should fall in love again with your passion, step by step. You know, every day, you like games, fantastic. Just try to play games as a normal gamer, not as a creative people that's working in games, trying to not analyzing too much what you're playing at the moment. You know, just enjoy things, and day by day, step by step, it will come to you again. You know, and you'll be able to make good stuff again. But it's difficult to get there. It costed us, in our case, it was months. You know, it was like more than maybe 8 to 9 months, almost a year, yeah, to get to a point that we were happy with what we were making at the moment. It wasn't easy. Also, another little advice that I read about is that you should finish your day work with something that you like, that you love to work the next day. You know, just finish in a point that you haven't finished yet what you're doing, maybe, but you know what you're making at the moment. But just leave it for tomorrow, and just to start the day with something that you like to start again. You know, little things like that. You know, but it's not easy. Please don't get into the burnout. Yeah, please don't. The problem is when you're an indie developer, if you don't work, you don't eat. It's just like that. We are not, sadly, we are not swimming in money. And for us, I told you about before, it costed us a year worth of money. And for us, it was almost a fatal blow, almost. But I'm here talking about that, so that I'm happy. And everything's good. So, yeah.
I think we can take one more question before the end of the hour. So if you're the brave one that want to talk a bit, even in Spanish, it's okay. Nobody? Yes. Oh, yes, two. He asked first, so we'll take the second, yeah.
I want to ask you how do you tell to your fathers, I'm going to work in making video games? They react nice, they say, yeah, and I want to have a Ferrari, for example. How they react and how they, that.
I was studying philosophy before, so they were quite happy.
Well, that's a thing. I was studying cinema, so that's a thing. Yeah, that's something, I don't know, how many people here are studying video games in academy or something like that? Okay, when I started studying cinema in the university in Madrid, the first thing that they told us was, you will never work in cinema. Yes, 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 yes. I have a very sincere teacher, and yes, it was true for me. And actually, from my promotion, like 150 people, I think that maybe 3 or 4 are working in cinema, but as producer or something, not as writer or director or editor, or something like a bureaucracy job or something like that. So I don't know, because my parents, I have a lot of lucky, and my parents, they were nice to me, and I say I want to do this, and they say okay, don't worry about that. But I have also another job, another day job, so it was like a zero-sum game that okay, you can do that, but you have to still doing this other thing. Yeah, I never worked in cinema actually, but maybe that I have a lot of life to live. So.
I think for me, it was not difficult. I think they accepted quite well. But the thing that I noticed is my mom kept asking me almost daily, how was the game doing? And it was a bit difficult to explain to her that the game that we're doing, Mom, it's gonna take almost 2 years to finish. And when we finish it, maybe it will go well, probably it will not go well. And if it doesn't go well, I expect it to at least not go the worst and have to close the studio. Maybe we can survive this one and have a bit of money to start the next one, which will take 2 or 3 more years to do. And then maybe on the 3rd or 4th game, the chances to success will be a bit higher. So that I think in my case, the hard thing to do was convincing them that I was happy with what I was doing and that at least I would be there until I had, while I still had enough to eat at the end of the month. My case is a lucky one because my wife is the one that brings money home. And she's very committed to my dream because she's happy with what she does and she sees the passion in me and she likes what I do also. So yeah, I'm happy with the little I have. I have a small salary, but I'm happy, and it's hard to convince your parents of that because they come from a generation where I won't say it was easy for them, but our grandparents were just in shit because they came from civil war. So for them, it was a little bit easier to work hard and build a life. But they also didn't have this chance to say, I can commit to my dreams and I don't care if I succeed or if I get rich. So we have to understand it's a little bit hard for them to cope with this. But at the end, they love you and they will understand. So.
They told me I was going to die of hunger, pretty much, at some point. Yeah, I mean, talking about, for me, it was year 2000, more or less, when at the time, in Valencia, there was nothing. You wanted to make games, nothing. You wanted to be an artist, comic artist or illustrator or commercial illustrator, nothing. The most similar thing there was graphic design, which is the career I made at the time. And that granted me a little job in an advertising agency, making logos and stuff like that, which I like, but the job was really stressful and bad, but my parents saw that I could earn a salary every month, so they were fine with that. It was, finally, maybe he's not going to die of hunger. But,
they're obsessed with dying of hunger.
Starvation.
It's something we don't really
I don't know. But at the time then, after a year, working as a graphic designer, an opportunity for me arose in England, where I got a job as him too, the year 2001, before it was cool, I immigrated to England for almost 5 years working in games for a big company. And the salary, I'm not going to lie to you, the salary was, compared to Spanish salaries, it was incredible. my parents were, oh, wow, then she's not dying of hunger, no, this time for sure. And I was fine with that. They were fine with that too. But then that's when the indie thing came with the iPhone, and everything changed for me. And then there was this new world open where you could do your own stuff and live out of it. But yeah, my parents, my father was the one that wasn't really happy with what I was doing. Maybe not even today. And you guys, I want to tell you guys one thing. You are super lucky today to have these video game focused studies that you can explore your passion and do cool stuff from day one. That's fantastic. I'm super envious of that. You're super lucky, and just take out the most of that and enjoy.
A little advice about talking with your parents, because I did a little teaching to young people and everything like that, and that question came a lot. So you have to understand that your parents maybe don't understand the thing. So you have to teach them, okay? You don't have to be like, it's a face, mom! I want to make a ska band and I will play the saxophone. It's not like that. It's something like, okay, I want to make video games, and your father will say, what, video games, that's violent, blah, 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 blah. And then you put them, I don't know, a very simpler click and point adventure or something like that, something that will capture their attention and it's not hard to play if they never play. And maybe then they start understand. You don't have to convert them to gamers, but they have to understand, because they understand TV. They see TV and they understand something more or less TV, or books maybe, or cinema. They see that, oh, cine is everywhere. But video games is something like we do in our rooms, or dark rooms by our own, and you can enter here because I don't have the start option, because I'm playing online and I can pause the game, mama. Okay, so it's something like that in the idea of video games. You have to make them understand that you can do something else, and you can do violent games also. So it's also a two-way conversation. You don't have to be it's like that. It's like you have your parents there, you are here, and they have their understanding of the world, and you have yours, and you have to share it with them. So I think it's like that. Teach your parents to be nice people, please.
So last question.
Si no os importa, yo formulo la pregunta en castellano porque me expreso mejor, ¿vale? Como personas jóvenes que sois, y bueno, me imagino que algunos tendréis hijos o dentro de poco, o si no los tenéis ya, sois escritores y me imagino que sois conscientes de todo lo que las personas aprenden a través del juego. ¿Os preocupa realmente contar una historia o quizá lo que es indicar algunos valores que vosotros consideráis que son importantes cuando estáis desarrollando la idea del juego?
Please answer in Spanish.
Answer in Spanish? Yeah.
No, I don't know. Like
is anyone who only speak English here? That was you. Actually. Well, I don't mind. Vale, pues yo personalmente sí y no. A través del juego, a través de las historias, no, porque mi juego es eso. Es muy difícil de contar historias con eso. Hay mucha gente que se ha empeñado en hacerlo, créeme, no es fácil. Pero lo que sí que me gustaría mucho, no tengo hijos, pero sí tengo hijos, es que no jueguen a juegos de móvil. Darles una tablet y que jueguen, sobre todo, no a cualquier... O sea, hay juegos muy buenos de móvil, pero juegos free to play que la mayoría de las veces lo que quieren es que continúes jugando, y esto funciona mucho con los hijos. Entonces, yo he crecido en una generación que jugué mucho con la Game Boy, y la Game Boy, para finalizar un nivel, tenías que esforzarte y tenías que estar ahí, tenías que jugar y tenías que aprender cosas, cosa que no pasa con muchos juegos de hoy en día. Lo único que quieren es que sigas jugando hasta que pagues. Entonces, todos los juegos que yo hago creo que sí que al menos transmiten esa sensación de ¿quieres conseguir esto? Que es diversión pura, sí, pero esfuérzate.
Yo soy la parte de escritor del equipo, aunque Abraham, que es mi compañero, pues lo llevamos un poco 50-50, aunque yo lo llevo al bajo nivel y hago los guiones y tal. Y transmitir valores. todo es valor y todo es ideología y todo es política y todo esto. Entonces, nosotros en concreto también apuntamos a un público no joven, en plan, no apuntamos a niños, aunque nuestro juego puedan jugar niños, sino apuntamos a un joven adulto, 15 hasta los 30, los jóvenes adultos de 27 años como yo. Y queremos hacer un juego que tenga personajes y que los personajes tengan una vida. Pero no lo sé, o sea, no queremos que en nuestro caso es especial porque Summoning Mara lo consideramos un poco tu safe space, tu sitio seguro, que sea como entras en el juego y nada malo puede pasarte en el juego. Y si hay villanos, son un poco villanos de opereta, en plan de jajaja, voy a acabar con este planeta, pero no son villanos de tú negro, ¿sabes? No son ese tipo de villanos. ¿Sabes? Son villanos de jaja, voy a acabar con toda la vida. Entonces, son villanos muy cartoon, muy tontitos. Y sin embargo, los personajes sí tienen una vida y tienen personalidades y se despliegan distintas, no sé, sexualidades y géneros y de todo. Porque también es lo que yo hago desde mi experiencia personal. O sea, yo al final miro a mi alrededor y digo, ¿quiénes son mis amigos? Y qué es lo que conozco, qué es lo que vivo a diario, aunque nuestro juego está ambientado en el planeta a tomar por saco y sean las razas alienígenas y de todo. Entonces, es algo que sale de mí mismo, aunque luego también lo pensamos todo. O sea, tú no escribes una historia y te sientas y la escribes. Tú te sientas y dices, ¿por qué esto va a ser así? ¿Por qué este personaje es así? ¿Qué va a pasar con este personaje? ¿Cuál es su rollo? ¿Cuál es su arco de evolución? ¿Por qué hace este arco de evolución? ¿Este arco de evolución tiene sentido? ¿Está transmitiendo una idea un poco chunga o no? Entonces, yo insisto muchísimo siempre en la preproducción de pensar una historia, porque hay gente que parece que se sienta, piensa una historia, o sea, ni la piensa, la escribe la historia y luego como, no había pensado esto, no había pensado en esto, otro, no sé qué. Entonces yo creo que escribir es un 80% pensar lo que estás escribiendo, un 5% escribir y otro 15% reescribir en realidad. Así que ese 80% es lo que estamos dando muchísimas vueltas y es un poco eso. Tengo una anécdota muy rápida de mi novia jugando al KOTOR, creo. Mi novia no juega videojuegos, por lo general. No le gusta, o sea, no le interesa mucho el tema. Y por algún motivo juega al Fortnite y al KOTOR solo. Y no sé por qué. Bueno, flipa mucho Star Wars. Pero jugando al KOTOR se cogió un personaje femenino. Y lo primero que le dan distintas skins y túnicas y de todo. Y de repente le dan el traje el bikini de Leia de Star Wars 6. Y me dice, ¿esto me lo han dado por algo? Y digo yo, no sé, te darán stats o algo así. Me dice, no, es que no tiene stats, no tiene nada. Me lo han dado para que me lo ponga y vaya por ahí sin más. Y yo como, supongo que sí, no lo sé. Y dice, pero soy un Jedi. En plan de, soy un puto Jedi. Yo quiero ir con mi puta capa y mi espada láser y reventar cabezas. No quiero ir con un bikini. Y luego pasó otro que, estando en una, no sé en dónde, por ahí paseando, de repente se le acercó un tío en el juego, un NPC, y le dijo alguna grosería, ordería, alguna cosa, algún chiste verde o algo, que yo lo entiendo desde el punto de vista del desarrollador, de, bueno, mete a este personaje que, qué graciosete, va a ser este viejo verde. Y ella viene y me dice, no puedo estar a salvo de estos señores ni en un puto videojuego. Entonces, ¿dónde voy a estar a salvo de todo? Es como, lo entiendo desde el punto de vista desarrollador de, joder, hay que meter un poco de variedad, pero también lo entiendo desde el punto de vista de, quiero jugar a este videojuego para ignorar un poco mi vida diaria, pero meto un videojuego y por coger un personaje femenino, porque aparte era estrictamente femenino el comentario, por lo visto. Era algo como, ¿qué culo morena? O algo así. Entonces, era un tema que era muy dirigido al género. Entonces, me lo comentaba y eso también me hace reflexionar a mí desde el punto de vista de, hostia, espera, ¿qué voy a querer hacer con mis frases aleatorias sueltas por ahí, mis NPCs? Entonces, es algo que no lo piensas desde el punto de vista de transmitir valores, que, bueno, también está bien transmitir valores, evidentemente, pero lo piensas más desde el punto de vista de la historia. O sea, quiero contar una buena historia y que la gente sienta emociones con ella y se sienta a gusto y se sienta feliz o se sienta triste o se sienta angustiada o lo que sea. Pero también tengo que ser consciente de cómo funciona todo lo demás y de qué público puede jugarlo.
A ver qué digo. En nuestros juegos creo que puedo afirmar que de los 4 que estamos aquí seguramente son los únicos quizá que nos han acarreado problemas por el contenido. Estamos muy orgullosos de ello. Hay que decir primero, hacemos juegos de humor y si haces humor y nadie se cabrea es que no lo estás haciendo bien. Bueno, somos muy conscientes de lo que hacemos y de cada chiste que hacemos y que ponemos ahí. Está porque queremos que esté ahí y porque lo hemos hecho así. Y bueno, supongo que algún día quizá nos arrepintamos de alguna cosa que hayamos puesto, porque todo el mundo evoluciona y a lo mejor miramos atrás y decimos qué capullos que éramos. De momento no ha pasado y bueno, tampoco no tenemos ya 27 años, tristemente. Nos acercamos más a los 40, así que bueno, igual ya mucha evolución por delante no tenemos. Pero lo que sí que quiero remarcar es que sabiendo que nuestros juegos levantan ampollas, vamos a seguir haciéndolo. Y sabiendo que eso nos puede traer también muchos problemas a nivel comercial, ¿no? Esto que voy a decir ahora igual no es muy políticamente correcto, pero lo más fácil, si quieres que un juego hoy en día se venda en todas partes y ningún publisher tenga ningún problema con tu juego, es ser un buenista de manual, ¿no? Decir, pues mi juego voy a intentar que no ofenda a nadie, cuando haga los test con gente, si veo que hay algo que ofende a alguien, lo voy a quitar porque quiero maximizar mi target, ¿no? Mi audiencia, quiero que sea todo el mundo. En nuestro caso, iba a decir sintiéndolo mucho, pero no, asumimos que eso nos va a quitar parte del target, asumimos que nuestro humor es de nicho, igual que cualquier tipo de humor, ¿no? A todos nos ha pasado que hay humoristas que nos gustan, humoristas que no nos gustan, pelis de humor que nos partimos de risa, pelis de humor que estamos en el cine así con cara de palo diciendo, pero ¿cómo se está riendo este subnormal de lo que están diciendo? Si estos chistes son una puñetera mierda. Es súper personal y lo asumimos. Y asumimos todos los cubos de mierda que nos quieran tirar encima. Por poner una anécdota, al final no se llegó a hablar, ¿no? En el Parlamento de aquella propuesta. Vale. Un periódico amarillista, ¿de dónde era, Javi? El Español, bueno, no sé, un periódico súper amarillista. Por cierto, somos de Barcelona, ergo catalanes. Y nada, pues un periódico, ahora no me acuerdo de dónde era, se puso a hurgar en los ficheros del internet y descubrió que nos habían dado ayudas de la Generalitat, porque igual que todas las comunidades, pues están empujando porque el sector del videojuego crezca, cosa que me parece ideal de la muerte. Descubrieron que nos habían dado ayudas de dinero público y nada, cogieron y se pusieron en Google el nombre del juego y con los primeros titulares que salieron, sin haber evidentemente leído la review, pues ahora no sé dónde era, una review de Vandal o de por ahí. ¿Qué? De Vida Extra nos habían hecho una review de el gore más extremo, no sé qué, no sé cuántos. Y evidentemente el título era medio clickbait, medio coña, porque el juego es de coña. Y la review pues había entendido que el juego era de broma y para nada tenemos gore extremo, pero hay toques de gore en el juego. Total, de todo eso el periódico destiló el gobierno catalán financia juegos que promueven la violencia contra los animales. Si solo pasa eso, pues te ríes un rato como os habéis reído vosotros y a lo mío. Pero es que eso escaló en que no sé qué grupo político leyó, porque era su periódico, ¿no? Lo leyeron y quisieron elevarlo a consulta en el Parlamento de Cataluña. O sea, pues estuvimos a punto, creo que al final evidentemente habría cosas más interesantes de las que hablar en el Parlamento, pero es que casi se debate que un juego de humor hace una broma en la que se matan animales. Un juego de humor con gráficos de dibujitos animados cartoon, que si tú no entiendes que eso es broma, es que estás teniendo un problema gordo. O sea, vuelve a empezar la EGB, no, vuelve a empezar primaria, reháztela eso y que te expliquen lo que es broma, lo que no es broma, los pachachos y esas cosas. Pues eso, que somos conscientes de lo que hacemos y sí, y dentro de nuestro humor pues también intentamos meter nuestros valores, que a lo mejor son malos, pero son los nuestros. y yo qué sé, pues hablamos que no sé, de que la religión a veces es buena, a veces es mala. Hablamos de que hay gente que come carne, pero luego hay gente que es vegana y hacemos chistes de unos, chistes de los otros. hablamos, evidentemente son juegos para adultos, ¿vale? También entendemos que como son de dibujitos pueden llevar a confusión, pero no pasa nada porque hay un sistema que se llama PEGI, que nos pone un 18 cuando puede, así que si lo juega alguien más joven, ahí ya entendemos que no podemos ir casa por casa viendo que dejan jugar a los padres, a los niños, pero bueno, me estoy enrollando muchísimo. Pero sí, que lo llevamos hasta las últimas consecuencias y sí, intentamos meter nuestros valores también un poco ahí en los chistes, ¿no? Que, bueno, nuestro rollo. Perdón si os he dado mucho la chapa.
Bueno, en nuestro caso, los juegos que hemos hecho anteriormente eran bastante, ¿cómo decir? Era una vuelta de tuerca a la historia de triunfar contra el mal. Entonces, tampoco había muchos valores ahí que hubiéramos metido, aunque aún así hemos tenido nuestros problemas con prensa, etcétera, una movida que pasó, que no voy a extenderme ahora. Pero con el nuevo juego que estamos haciendo ahora, que es nuestro cuarto ya como equipo, este es un juego narrativo. Entonces, la historia creo que nos da pie a extendernos precisamente lo que tú sugieres, de no meter un calzador nada, pero sí aportar algunos valores a la gente que juega el juego. Libertad de identidad sexual, defensa de la naturaleza, antirracismo. La historia da pie a ello. De hecho, ya la demo que tenemos aquí, que dura los primeros 40 minutos del juego, ya hay de eso, de todo eso, esas tres cosas, por ejemplo, ¿no? Y creemos que aporta más a la historia, que aporta más a que el jugador se identifique con el personaje con el que está jugando, se meta más en la historia y en el mundo que hemos creado para él, ¿no? Entonces, yo creo que, según casos, obviamente, a lo mejor en un shooter de matar robots, pues a lo mejor no te interesa tanto, pero en un juego más en la que la historia es más tan importante, es casi imprescindible. Tampoco me mola ir de abanderado de nada, ¿no? Pero bueno, creo que añade más a la experiencia, que al fin y al cabo es lo que se trata. Ya está.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you too for the nice questions. So if you have any extra question, you can ask them directly outside, and I will enjoy the rest of the Indie Royale. I don't know how it will go on because Ramon is not around. I wish Ramon would have chosen a more diverse panel of speakers because we are all men today answering questions, but hopefully it will get better and better on this point. So let's continue. Thank you.
Thank you.